As you're painfully aware, I know like 5 Bible passages. And we read the first one, Debbie did early. And the other one is in the Gospel where it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are the humble, they will inherit the earth." Do you believe that? I mean, we live in a world of a lot of noise and a lot of power. In your world and my world, we know there's a lot of braggadocio and scrambling to be on top. We live in a world of winners and losers. Is it even realistic for Jesus to say that the humble will inherit the earth? I'm not sure how it started, but there's 1 or 2 people in our church that like to keep me in my place once in a while. And so he says, "Don, what is this humble temple stuff you're always talking about?" He said, "Number 1, temples are Jewish. And number 2, you're not all that humble. So what's it about?" I mean, temples theoretically are Jewish, and probably the minister is not all that humble, but I'm not sure how to do it. But whenever I simply say the words humble temple, I relax. I mean, Jesus loved his temple. He was 12 years old, ran away for a couple of days, and his parents found him sitting in the temple teaching God's will and God's law to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And Jesus just wanted his temple to be more loving and accepting and reaching out to those who were on the other side of the street. It's kind of like what we want our church to be. And Jesus was incredibly humble, even to the point of giving his own life so that we might know how deep and unconditional his love for us is. I'm not sure how it is for you, but when I am in the presence of somebody who exudes humility, to me that is one of the most powerful things that you can be a part of. We live in a world where it's nice to be noticed. And when any one of us does something that's kind of over the top, it's nice to be recognized. And we all know what it's like to get stuff. It feels good. But when you're in the presence of humility, when you're in the presence of anybody who is the kind of person that simply gives because that is what's in his or her nature, that is just a beautiful experience. Someone whose calling in life is to enhance the quality of life of somebody else. Somebody for whom the only trophy they care about is the trophy they carry inside their heart and soul when they see that they can make a quiet difference in the life of somebody else's journey. That is good stuff. And I think about religion a lot. I think about the good parts of religion, but I also think about the parts of religion where religion can kind of get in the way. And I realize that Jesus is a lot closer to us than we ever thought possible. Because Jesus talks to us in moments of kindness that are given unto us by very, very ordinary people. And it's that unselfish sharing in the ordinary that is truly one of the most beautiful miracles around us. Today we honor our 20-plus year relationship with Heartland. Didn't even know Mike and Ruth. Just kind of happened to meet him and talk to him through Pam and Joe. And then when their daughter died unexpectedly after giving birth to their child, which is now Mike and Ruth's child, they called me, and Jude and I went down to Boerne, Texas to do the funeral. Little did I know that we'd end up going back there year after year after year with a bunch of kids from our church, and that we would meet an 8-month-old infant with ketchup on his face, who is now 17 years old and not all that humble. You know, you look at those kids that will never leave their bed. You think of Johnny and Crystal, who will spend the rest of their lives there. You think of the nurses who dedicate their lives to caring for them, and some of them have more than one job. You think of all these kids that will never go to the prom. They'll never be on a traveling soccer team. And yet somehow they speak with their eyes, They talk with their souls. In their silence, they teach us about the depth and the meaning of life. And I think of those words, blessed are the meek, and blessed are the humble, and blessed are the poor in spirit. Each year I put together a video, some pictures and some music about our summer mission trip. I remember doing a funeral at Colonial Chapel. And you know how it is when you go to a visitation, they oftentimes put together kind of a picture montage with some music about the person who's deceased. And I met Mark, and I said, Mark, are you the one at the funeral home that does these? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, would you be willing to do one for Heartland? And he said, well, of course. And he's now done 10 in a row. And so the last minute, of course, it was this week, I said, you know, I haven't done the video yet, but I should put together a short video just so that people who come on Sunday night can see what Heartland is like in case you haven't been there or seen it. And so I called Mark and I said, I know it's kind of last minute, but I just need one. It's going to be short that I can show on Sunday. And he said, okay. Well, I go to pick it up and I walk into his office and there's two big red bags. And inside those two big red bags are 40 copies of the video in a case like this. Couldn't buy this at the store. And then he had a note attached, which also was on my telephone. Dear Don, I hope these are okay, and I hope I've made enough. And I know you and the church, you're going to try to pay me or make a gift to the funeral home. Please, don't give us anything, because I would appreciate you giving us nothing more than anything you could ever give us. And I thought to myself, blessed are the meek, blessed are the humble. And I kept thinking of Mark's words that by giving me nothing, you give me everything. It's not often that you go to a funeral home on a weekday for inspiration. I'm on my way back to the church, and I'm thinking about Mark. Don't give us anything, because in not giving us anything, you're giving us everything. Well, our check to Heartland was supposed to be $2,500, but now our check to Heartland is $3,000. And I'm not going to tell Mark that he was a part of that, because then he'll get mad at me for giving him something. You know, I realize that some people spend their whole lives in search of Jesus. And I've learned from many of you that Jesus lives just down the block. Amen. If you're able to, please rise for the creed. It's on page 105.